Afternoon, Andy. Yeah, good talk.
Excellent. Quickly then, before we get into injuries and stuff, the club have been seeking to appeal Marvin Johnson's red card from the Ipswich game, the elbow and all of that. Has there been a conclusion?
No, we're going to find out this afternoon, Andy. So we'll see, and obviously once we know, we'll let you guys know.
Right. So there's no indication as to whether you're hopeful or not hopeful?
Well, when you log an appeal, Andy, we're very hopeful, really, but we'll see what the outcome is this afternoon.
Whatever does happen, it does again, and I realise I'm asking you, but unsolicited by me in recent weeks, other of your other managers have talked about inconsistencies in refereeing. Are you noticing increased trends this season?
I mean, it's. I always think it's a real difficulty because there's more scrutiny on the game. There's probably more scrutiny on the officials, but it's a real difficult situation that they're all presented with because they're having to make a real split decision at a moment's second, really. So it's very, very difficult, and I do sort of legislate with them in terms of the difficulty that they're under and the extreme scrutiny that we've seen from the very highest part of the game, and no different with our game. So for me, I understand the difficulties of them that they're under, and I'm one of the managers that lend my support. As I said, we're catching up with Howard at a later date to really discuss and bridge that gap together, really, in terms of everybody on the same page and helping one another.
Interesting that you say that, and good, because a lot of managers essentially talk about the lack of dialogue between yourselves, clubs, managers, etc. Whether things are going right, wrong, or somewhere in between. There's just been a lack of communication.
Yeah, and I think it's helped. Like anything, good communication means good relationships, and the lack of communication or poor communication, then we know what the result that means. So, we're in the game, we serve the professional game, we want to make it better for all parties concerned, and everybody spectating and watching the game, and I think by getting to that level is bringing it together, so I'm all for it.
In between matches, are there any new injury problems?
Not that I know of, in terms of off the top of my head, really, apart from Malik and Patel and Icky, what's showing all good signs and progress, then they'll continue along those. So those bodies will be exempt from the game tomorrow, but they're making good progress.
Wilkes was the least injured, as it were. How soon might he be back on the grass?
Yeah, we're looking at him. We'll see how next week goes, and we'll see if we can get him back out there. I've seen him outside doing a bit of jogging, Andy, but when I talk about the grass, I mean some real good grass time, and hopefully that'll start to ebb its way probably from next week onwards.
You decided to not play Flint and Fairwell last weekend, keep them safe, etc. Presumably they come back into the reckoning for Charlton tomorrow.
Yeah, they were part of the squad last week, but I didn't really want to use them. But certainly the both of them now would have benefited not having any match minutes in that close proximity of time. So we've got those two back. They've trained as normal. So it's lovely to have them available. Not to say they weren't available last week, because they was. It's just that I chose not to use them last week.
It says quite a bit about where the squad is right now, that you can make that choice and the strength of that squad.
Yeah, I suppose so. And I just thought last week's game with Reece and Palms to deputise inside them, I thought it was good for those two to come in. I just thought for Flinty, being where he was at, arrived here from Stoke and being stood still and then playing games and match minutes, and then Akin recovering back from his operation, it was an opportunity to look at the volume that those two players had done. And working with the medical department, yes, it was a brave decision to make at the time, but I just thought it was right. And it accumulated that we didn't risk both players, and we managed to get the result.
Should Sheffield Wednesday not lose, and ideally win, of course, tomorrow down at Charlton, you'll set a new club record for 20 unbeaten. The previous record was set in the 60s at 19. How much of a motivational factor is that tomorrow?
Andy, once again, it's another figure that you've shared with me that I was unaware of. And yes, it is nice, but again, for me, it's about focusing on the game. And we've always done that, Andy, up until now. We've been consistent with that in just focusing on the one game and in terms of what the one game means to us. Obviously, outside of it, you've brought a potential record that could be set tomorrow. And that's a nice record to be associated with. But what we are doing is looking in detail for the game and making sure we continue our progress in terms of where we are and what we are. We know there's still work to do, and we continue to do that. We've had another good week's training, and we get ready for another difficult game tomorrow.
In the general sense, are you bothered about these types of things? So in the playing career, when clubs that you were playing at were trying to achieve maybe certain records or certain things, or maybe you as an individual playing records, that type of thing, are they something that after the event you look back on, or is it not something that's ever sort of stoked your fires one way or the other?
Yeah, honestly, Andy, for me, it's not really stoked my fires really, because when I was a player, I had a job to do, which was, to go out and perform to the best of my ability. And here now as a manager, my job is to make sure that we're moving in the right direction as a team. Even last week in the game, but we win the game, I thought there's areas of our game where we need to improve. And I have a thirst and a hunger to keep Sheffield Wednesday improving in all departments. So all the other bits outside, I can't really control those, and you look back at them afterwards. But what I'm really thirsting and hungering for is to see Sheffield Wednesday as a whole of a football club develop on and off the pitch. So there's always a daily work that's needed to see this club keep moving in the right direction, and that's what drives me really in terms of as me as an individual. And I like to express that on the team and the football club as a whole.
I wonder if one of those maybe is any chance of eradicating complacency. Charlton is the start of a run of fixtures all against top sides in the division in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you look at and associate them because of the club and that. But for me, we're part of 24 teams in this division, which I've got the utmost respect for. I'm looking Charlton. I've got the absolute utmost respect for. What's happening at the football club and where they are, and the stability that's been brought there by the new boss there. It's been really, really good. Dean's doing a great job there. He's brought stability there. He's brought consistency there. He's brought a lovely brand of football that they're playing there. So it's wonderful. So it's the right fit for the club because the club needed stability. So we know in terms of the potential and the threats that they present, and we know we've got to be really, really good as a team to go down there. And if we are to come out there, it's a wonderful arena to go and play your football. And we take a large away following the game down there, and we're grateful for that large following supporting us down there. So for me, it's the games there, two teams making good progress in the division, and we go head to head tomorrow, and hopefully, as it is on paper, the game will be played in a good manner tomorrow.
Because Dean Holden has kind of kept them in the hunt for the playoffs, hasn't he? They from being kind of nowhere, they're back in it, I suppose. Yeah,
and rightly so. I mean, he's got a wonderful desire and a temperament, Dean, as well, and he expresses that on his team. And they're making. When you look at since he's arrived there, they've brought some real solidity and some good performances and some good results. And since he's gone there, there seems there's more consistency with the club. There's more solidity with the club, as well as adding that consistency. And he'll be looking to implement that. And why not in the position where he is and the amount of games to play? There's lots of football to be played. and we're the next opponents for them as they're the next opponents for us. So yeah, it bodes well for another good game, Andy.
Doesn't it? Best of luck. See you tomorrow.
Cheers, Andy. Thanks.
You alright, Darren? How you doing?
Afternoon, Joe. Good, thanks.
Good stuff. Just want to touch on the spread at this Football Club this season. I was looking this morning, it's 20 different players who've scored or assisted over the course of the campaign so far. How big has that sort of spread of responsibility been for you as a group?
That's been excellent, Joe, for me. Remember we spoke at the start of the season about when you saying that the strikers weren't scoring, and we felt we were scoring goals from other ends of the pitch. Now the strikers are scoring, so it means that, you know, all departments of the pitch. But even if you look at last season when they arrived, we had with the team. It was spread again last season. I think we had 20 odd different goal scorers last season. So it's something that we apply ourselves here at Sheffield Wednesday, and I think we've been consistently different goal scorers over 2 consecutive seasons. So it's no different this season, that we feel that if we get certain players in certain areas of the pitch, it's not just left down to what you deem the strikers to score. We feel that we can score from whether any area of the pitch really, and because we believe that if we can get the players with the quality that we have in those areas, then they'll ask a question. They'll either put the ball in the back of the net or ask a question of the opposition goalkeeper to pull off a save or something. So long may that continue, and we continue to work on those dynamics to our game, really, Joe, to score goals, because as you know, with scoring goals, it wins your games.
I presume it's like a few more of your centre-backs scoring now, if possible.
Yeah, if that's the case, you know, they know we've been working on it in training, that when we get set plays, it's an opportunity for us to go and score as well as open play. So we know the importance of those as well, getting central defenders on the score sheet.
I want to touch on Patel. You spoke sort of briefly about injuries there. How's Patel doing, and have you got a better idea of when he might be back yet?
We think we're going to assess him next week, Joe, and then maybe, you know, we'd probably be in a position where probably we might be able to assess him more further. But at the moment, he's making good progress. You know, he's been in again this week, and, you know, his signs that he's looking really, really good. He's a strong man anyway. He's really strong. And he's making good progress. So long may that continue, and we'll check on him again next week, and maybe we might be a little bit more clear as to a time scale with him.
Brilliant. You said when we spoke to you after the transfer window closed that sort of only time would tell on, you know, whether you needed to have done more in the transfer window. It's been a few weeks, got a few more players back. Given the sort of results that have happened since then, are you happy with where things are at?
Yeah, because obviously the window's closed now, Joe, and we got what we got, and that's what we're working with. As I said, this season we always was working with smaller numbers, and within those smaller numbers was trying to add as much versatility to the group as possible. And even from now to the end of the season, that versatility will get called upon without a doubt, and players still have to adopt new positions that for the benefit of the team and the club in going forward. But as I said, the players are up to it, they're ready for it, and as I said, we'll continue to use that from now to the end of the season. So the results have been positive, but we know that we've got to continue showing the true form and the consistency and the level of performance to keep those results coming.
Brilliant. How highly does this setup rate? You know, not just in terms of the group of players, but also the people you've now got around you as well.
Really good. I'm very detailed in terms of what the people bring me around me and the roles and responsibilities they play, and they've been consistent with that as well. But also at the same time, it's challenging them as well. I like to think it's a challenging environment. We don't stand still, because you can't stand still, because each and every single week as we progress through the weeks are different. There's different problems that arise, and there's different hurdles to overcome. So you've got to be adaptable with that. So the people around me know that, because I feel that they're being challenged to do that. and by being challenged, it brings out the best of them, and they've got to be adaptable. And we've shown levels of that, and we'll have to consistently show more levels of that with the games that's still to come.
Excellent. Obviously, you won a lot of promotions as a player during your career. Aside from the actual tactical side of things, what's the sort of main bit of advice that you tried to impart upon your players that you sort of picked up over the course of your career with all those promotions that you won?
One word: consistency. That's it, Joe. Consistency. Any male or female, individual or collectively in sports, one of the biggest components in order to be really successful is that consistency, is being able to churn out consistent performances and better those performances with that level of consistency. And any successful team, any successful individual, one thing that you'll all agree with it is when you look back at their careers or the time that things were won, it was that level of consistency at that time, being able to perform and keep those consistency going. So it's a big word, and it's a word that challenges us all, is find that level of consistency, and if you can do that over a level over amount of time, then it'll get you to where you need to get to.
Brilliant. Fingers crossed that's the case this season. Just lastly from me, Charlton gave you a really tough game earlier in the season. 1-0, sort of tight 1-0 victory at Hillsborough. Obviously, a lot's changed since then. How much do you think you've grown as a team since that victory?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the dynamics of the team, the performance of the team, the messages that we've been giving the group as a team is completely different from there. I remember Tariq scoring a real great headed goal that settled the game really. So, we've always had good close games with them over the last couple of seasons, and we predict another one again, and a tough game down there, but it's a wonderful arena to go and play your football and everything else. So yeah, but we're certainly different, Joe, from when we was at the start of the season.
Fantastic. Thanks, Darren. I'll see you down there.
Thanks, Joe.
Just in terms of, obviously, Charlton's got a few ex-Wednesday players, haven't they? Obviously, Sean Clare, Matt Penny, I think you worked with briefly, and also Michael Hector. Just on the Hector front, what are you kind of expecting, and also just how are your thoughts on his, how that kind of move didn't come about to Wednesday?
Yeah, no, great to see him, signed at Charlton. He's a good man. He's a solid individual, and he's got his opportunity and remit to play football, and he's playing for a good club in Charlton. And as I said, obviously if he's playing tomorrow, we'll get to see him at some stage tomorrow. But I'll greet him because of the man that he is. But we know that that he's a good player as well, and certainly at the level that we are, he's an effective player. So. We'll get to see him tomorrow, but really I'll greet him as an individual because he's a good solid human being. So it's good. And the other two boys, obviously with Penny and that we worked briefly here. So good player, Matt, and he'll be wanting playing games. And then obviously the other one, Sean, I wasn't here at the time, so I didn't really get to meet him. So, but we're looking forward to the game as a whole, Ricky.
Obviously, we spoke briefly last week about going back to this one game week kind of setup. Because it's been quite hectic, hasn't it, the last few weeks? Just tell us a little bit about the key differences between when you don't have a game on a Tuesday, how that affects you being able to get the message across a bit clearer on the training ground.
Yeah, because with a one game week, you're able to get 4 real good detail sessions in. and we accompany that with some video analysis work as well, so you get some classroom stuff in. Players are able to work on their strength and conditioning program, so the sports science department gets a bit giddy as well because they get time with the players, as we get some real good time on the pitch with them, because you've not got that midweek game, Ricky, to implement. And Ricky, we work in and out of possession. You know, we look at all areas. There's never one specific area that we really detail in. We always work on all areas because there's always parts of the squad and individuals where they need developing. We work on individual programs, we work on group programs, we work on unit programs, we work on the team as a whole program. So all these things you're able to implement in a 1 game week, whether it be the video analysis or on the training ground, and implementing more ideas, pushing the players, giving them more ideas, things that we can try out more so going forward. So these are what the 1 game weeks present for us going forward.
And obviously, if you do have a midweek game, I guess you kind of lose 2 days really, because there's the match day and then obviously the rest and recovery straight after as well. So it kind of has a knock-on effect, I guess. That's
correct. You know, with a midweek game, you have to limited time to turn around, 24, 48 hours to turn around for a game. So your information gets a bit condensed in terms of what you're giving the players. And of course, with the game, the rest and recovery is just as much as taking part in the game. So all those things play a part in when you got a 1 game week or when you got a midweek game.
Just something that Joe touched on there about obviously your experiences of promotion. Since you've become a coach, have you ever been able to kind of enjoy it whilst the season's going on? Like, are you enjoying it now, or is it constantly on the go?
Yeah, it is constantly on the go. I think just over time and experience, what you end up doing, Ricky, is you start to enjoy the process and enjoying the moment. And I think that's what you've got to do, because before I was probably like a mouse on the wheel, just going round and round and round, consistently going. But now it's able to exhale, lift your head a bit, look at the process that you're in, because I think if you can enjoy the process that you're in, it implements learning as me as an individual. So you're able to stop and take pauses in the week and look at things where you might miss, that you can capture the moment, Ricky, and really focus on yourself as an individual and capturing that moment where you can implement it on your staff and your group of players, or not just them, but people in and around the football club, whether that may be fans or staff members around the football club, that you're able to have an input at that moment in time because you're able to pause in that moment. And I think it's been something that I've been happy to do and come by to do, really.
Good stuff. And just lastly from me, I just want to ask you about Barrett. Last couple of games, you've kind of took him off with 10, 15 minutes to go. What's the kind of thinking behind that? Is that more to preserve him game by game, or is that just a case of his recent injury being taken into account?
Yeah, Ricky, that was it really. It's just managing his loading, with him just coming back from that injury and just getting him back into it, and we've been able to integrate him back in. And the way the games have gone is it's probably allowed us to bring him off and just take him off with those 10, 15, 20 minutes to go, and gone on from there really. But he's got himself back up to full fitness now, and to add those minutes in as well as training, we really feel happy where he's at. Obviously with these 1 game weeks as well, they benefit with the volume that he's had in training as well, really. So we've been pleased to do so, and he's feeling good, he's feeling great, and it's certainly nice to have him back.
I was going to say, I think you mentioned it a few weeks ago, how that, you know, obviously he's matured, but when he was a few years ago, he was wanting to play 90 minutes every week, whereas now I think he understands his body a bit more, and he realises that 10 minutes here and there, you know, yes, you want to be out there all the time, but it's for the long-term benefit, I guess. And
that's correct. And as is with Baz, with all the players, everything we do here is to help and manage and maintain them. Our emphasis will be prevention, not cure. You know, and that's why we've introduced a lot of things here this season. We spoke about going through all those plyometric testing. We've got a sports science department that's increased. We've got yoga. We've introduced yoga in here. over the course of it. We do a lot of activities here for the group. So it's trying to be prevention, not cure, and try and keep them on the pitch. And as well as that, you've got to make coaching, managing decision on players if you can at the time, in terms of the volume that they're covering, because what we want to do is maintain and keep them playing for us as long as possible. So that's always at the forefront.
Cheers, Darren. Good luck tomorrow.
Cheers, Ricky. Thank you.
Darren, how you doing? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm just having one or two technical difficulties. You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Alex.
Good stuff. I know we're tight for time, so I'll try and keep it tight, mate. The next time that we speak to you on a pre-match, we'll have celebrated a 2-year anniversary of your time at the club. What are your memories of how you saw Sheffield Wednesday and the job at hand when you came in all those months ago?
Yeah, 2 years. Wow. I mean, yeah, how I saw it was like any manager taking any club, they really have a desire and a temperament to believe that, you know, they can go in there and help to change things around. It was an opportunity for me to come in here along with my staff. And I know you need the time because like any manager, you know, you're expected to hit the ground running and get results. And we've managed to get those results in terms of bought us the time. And as you've seen over the last two years coming up to it, there's certainly been a change from when we arrived here, Alex, to where we are now. But not just us as individuals, just holistically the whole club. I feel there's a buy-in with the fans, there's a connection with the staff, there's a connection with the players and the fans. You know, the atmosphere around the place just feels a lot more different. But you know, a lot of people look at it at that, me being the manager here, but I'm sending the message back out there and thanking everybody, because it has to be a joint effort. For anything with a team and a football club, you need the buy-in from everybody. And what we've had is that there's been a buy-in from everybody at the football club connected at Sheffield Wednesday in turning this wonderful football club around. We as a football club have done nothing yet, Alex. You know, we've done nothing yet. What we have done is change the mood and the temperament from everybody in. And I'm pleased to feel and witness that. But like I'm going to put the message out there again, is that we've done nothing yet as a football club. What we have just done is brought stability to the football club. And from the outside looking in, it looks like a stable football club. But we know as a football club, we've got so much more to do in the industry of football, that if we are to do it, then there's going to have to be an even more further buy-in by everybody. So for me, keep up the good work, everybody, in all your departments that you play, whether you're a supporter or working for the football club or a player or anybody, is keep up the good work and maintain that level of standard and support. And like I said to Joe, the key word is that consistency.
What do you remember about your first day, sort of the first stepping on the training ground, or your first meeting with the players? Are there any sort of details or feelings that come back when you think of that?
Yeah, no, I just remember stepping on the training ground and when me and Jamie arrived and done the first training session, and just thought like there's a good level of players here. And I always remember Barry Bannon saying to me, Gaffer, what we're going to do, because we've been such a mixed bag for so long, you know, whether we're a long ball team or short ball team or anything like that. And I just said, Baz, you'll have an identity, and you'll certainly all know what you're doing as a as an individual and collectively as a team. There'll be an identity here, and we'll play when it's on to play, and we'll develop levels of understanding of the game, and that's exactly what we've done. And most importantly, each and every single one of you as individuals, collectives, as a team, you'll improve. And why will you improve? Because the work we're doing on the training ground. And that was from day one. And that was me talking to my skipper. And hopefully we've stayed true with those values with the team, and we'll continue to stay true with those values.
Apart from your interactions with the local media, of course, what have you enjoyed most about the last 2 years?
No, I it's been really, what I've enjoyed is obviously you've all got a thirst and a hunger and a desire for the football club. Obviously the football club plays a huge part in the city. So every detail of the football club is covered by you all. But it's been good to share those values with you as the local media, and hopefully you guys can see what we're trying to do at this football club. And you guys have played a part in it as well, in how you've echoed those news and the messages that we've been trying to do at the football club. And you've got your finger on the pulse as well, Alex, with everything that's going on here. But it's really important for me as a manager is to try and keep those messages clear and giving the fans as much as information as I can, because they have a thirst and hunger in terms of wanting to know about their football club, and as much as I can share with them about what's going on in this football club and how we are trying to move this club forward. I think it's they have a right to know, so I try and share as much information as I can. You know what I'm like, I'm just up there, and as much as I can share with them I will do, in letting them know what's happening at their football club.
Great stuff. I know you've got a bus to catch. I'd love to talk longer, but yeah, good luck this weekend.
Cheers, Alex. We'll see you all there. Cheers, guys.